What if I told you this audiobook has the power to awaken your third eye and show you a reality nobody else can see? The moment it switches on, you will feel it in your forehead, in your mind, and in the way the world bends around you. Patterns you never noticed before suddenly appear. Energy that was invisible starts moving through you. Your instincts sharpen. Your awareness stretches beyond everything you thought was possible. Nothing you have learned can prepare you for this. This is a part of your mind they did not want you to touch. The inner lens that flips reality and makes the unseen undeniable. If you are ready to feel what most people miss their whole lives and finally see the hidden patterns shaping everything, do two things. First, tell me where you are listening from, and second, tell me one word that describes the life you are choosing right now in the comments. Let's begin. There is a moment in every person's life when something inside starts to stir, and it feels like a quiet push from a place you cannot name. It happens in small flashes that most people ignore because they are too busy or too distracted to notice. Maybe you have felt it too. A sudden pull in your chest for no clear reason. A strange stillness in your mind right before something important happens. A feeling that you knew something long before your brain could explain it. This little push is not random, and it is not some dramatic event. It is the earliest sign that your deeper awareness is waking up. You may have spent years thinking your thoughts and feelings were scattered or chaotic, but every now and then there were moments that made you stop. A dream that felt too real. A hint of a voice inside that was not really a voice, yet it was strong enough to guide you. A sense that you should take a certain path, even when nothing around you showed a logical reason to do so. These moments are tiny signals from a part of your inner system that has been waiting for attention. Most people grow up thinking that the world is only what they can see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. Those senses are useful, yet they only show the outer layer of life. Beneath that layer, there is a deeper field of experience that sits untouched only because we are trained to overlook it. The funny thing is that you have already used this deeper sense many times in your life, even if you never named it. When you sense danger before it appears, or when you feel drawn to someone or something without any explanation, or when you get a sudden burst of clarity that changes how you see a situation in an instant. All of these are tiny sparks from the part often called the third eye. When this inner sense begins to wake up, you do not suddenly see beams of light or magical visions. What you feel first is awareness, a sharper presence, a quieter mind that begins to observe instead of react. You start noticing things that were always there yet somehow hidden. You pick up on unspoken feelings in others. You feel the mood of a room before anyone speaks. You understand your own thoughts with a kind of depth that feels new and strangely natural at the same time. As this awareness grows, life starts to feel less mechanical. You stop moving on autopilot, and you start paying attention to the way energy shifts in your body and around you. You notice how some people drain you for no clear reason, while others bring you a sense of warmth and peace. You notice how certain places feel heavy and others feel light. You notice how your intuition begins to speak louder and more clearly. Not with words, with a knowing that does not need language. Many people expect some wild, mystical event, but the truth is far more grounded and far more powerful. When your third eye wakes up, your mind goes through a quiet reset. Old patterns lose their grip. Old fears fade. Your sense of self becomes steady. You feel more aware of the present moment. Your thoughts slow down in a good way. Your focus sharpens. You start seeing choices you never noticed before. You start feeling more connected to your own purpose, even if you cannot fully describe it yet. This awakening is not about escaping reality. It is about seeing reality with new clarity. It is the shift that happens when you stop living from habit and start living from awareness. Once it begins, it does not go backward. You cannot unsee what you start to see. You cannot unfeel what you start to feel. And you cannot go back to sleep after waking up. If this feels familiar, then you are already in the first stages. And once it starts, nothing in your life will stay the same. Chapter 1. The Veil and the Longing. That persistent whisper, something more. Have you ever stood in a crowd, surrounded by noise and motion, by the laughter and the bustling energy of 1,000 other souls, and felt a sudden, profound, and utterly isolating silence within yourself. Not a loneliness for people, not a desire for company, but a loneliness of purpose, a deep, unsettling feeling, as if everyone else had been given a script for a play you accidentally walked into, and you are just there on the stage, miming your part, hoping against hope that no one in the audience notices you do not know your lines, that you are improvising your very existence moment by moment. Or have you ever, after immense struggle and focus, finally achieved something you worked for, something you were utterly convinced would be the key that unlocked the door to lasting happiness, the new job, the new car, the new relationship, the financial goal, only to find, in the quiet moment after the celebration, a quiet, hollow space where the satisfaction should have been? It is like a thirst that water cannot quench, a hunger that food cannot satisfy. It is the feeling of a note so pure it almost shatters the glass, played just outside the range of your hearing. Let me speak to you directly for a moment. You are reading this book. You are listening to this words now, for a reason. It is not an accident. That feeling, that subtle but persistent dissonance between the life you are living and the life you feel you should be living, is not a flaw in your character. It is not a sign of ingratitude or a failure to be positive. It is, in fact, the single most important sign that you are awake, even in your slumber. It is the proof that you are human and that you are designed for more. That ache is the shadow cast by a greater light. That hollow feeling is the exact shape of the soul, pressing against the confines of the personality, asking for more room to breathe, to expand, to become what it has always been destined to be. This, dear listener, is the longing. It is the first and most crucial symptom of a spirit that is ready to remember its true nature. It is the gentle, insistent, and relentless tug on the veil that separates the world of appearance from the world of essence. It is the inner compass that has been pointing true north all your life, while you have been trying to navigate by the distorted maps given to you by the world. What is this veil? The great traditions of the world have always spoken of it. The Maya of the Hindus, the great illusion. The Platonists spoke of the shadows on the cave wall, which the prisoners mistake for reality. It is the forgetfulness that descends upon us when we take on a physical body, a kind of spiritual amnesia that allows us to fully engage with the drama of human life. In more modern psychological terms, it is the consensus reality. It is the agreed-upon dream that we have all collectively decided to call real. It is the world of names and forms, of deadlines and bank accounts, of social media and nightly news, of politics and pop culture. It is a useful world, a practical world, a world that functions with a certain set of rules, but it is not the only world. It is not, in the final analysis, the real world. It is a simulation running on the hardware of a much greater truth. The veil is woven from the threads of your inherited beliefs, your cultural conditioning, your past traumas and triumphs, your educational background, and the relentless, low-grade hypnosis of a society that prizes doing over being, having over essence, and accumulation over appreciation. You see the world not as it is, but as you are. Your perception is filtered, edited, color-corrected, and interpreted by a lifetime of programming. You are looking at an infinite, multidimensional reality through a keyhole, and you have been taught that the sliver of light you see is the entire sun. Earl Nightingale, in his timeless wisdom, would have said that a person's world is a mirror of themselves. If the world you see seems limited, confusing, hostile, and separate, it is because you are perceiving it through a filter of limitation, confusion, hostility, and separation. The third eye, when opened, is not about adding something new to this equation. It is not about acquiring a new piece of esoteric equipment. It is the process of subtracting the filter. It is the conscious, deliberate removal of the dust that has accumulated on the lens of your perception. Think of a dusty window in an old, forgotten library. For years, you have been sitting in this library, looking out of this window, seeing a dim, gray, muted world. You assume that this is what the world looks like. You discuss its grayness with others who are also looking through their own dusty windows. You write poems about the soft, sad light. You build philosophies around the inherent gloom of existence. Then, one day, driven by an impulse you cannot name, you take a cloth, and you wipe away a small, hand-sized patch of the grime. A brilliant, shocking, laser-sharp beam of sunlight pierces through the gloom. The colors outside are vibrant, alive, dazzling beyond description. You see shades of green you never knew existed. You realize with a heart-stopping, paradigm-shattering jolt that the problem was never the world. It was the window. The world was always this breathtakingly beautiful. You were just looking at it through a layer of dirt. You were longing for something more. That feeling that there must be a greater purpose, a deeper meaning, a more vibrant reality, is the hand, already holding the cloth, poised to clean. It is the part of you that never fell asleep, the part that remembers the sunlight, that knows, with a certainty deeper than intellect, that the gray is a lie. This chapter, this very moment, is that first, tentative wipe. We are not trying to tear the whole window out yet, for that would be too shocking, too overwhelming. We are simply acknowledging the dust. We are recognizing the veil for what it is, a construct, a useful, but ultimately limiting interface. And in that recognition, something miraculous happens. The veil, which depended entirely on your unconscious acceptance of it, begins to lose its power. It becomes transparent. You start to see the light shining through the threads. You begin to notice the seams in reality. This process of recognition is what the mystics and sages called the awakening. It is not always a loud, dramatic event, though it can be for some. More often, it is a quiet, internal reorientation, a subtle but irreversible shift in the very center of your gravity. It is the movement from being the main character in the movie of your life, completely identified with the role, to becoming the aware, conscious, and compassionate watcher of the screen itself. You are still in the movie. You still have a part to play, but you are no longer lost in it. You know you are the awareness in which the entire drama is unfolding. You begin to notice the synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that feel like a wink from the universe, a secret handshake from the cosmos. You start to trust your intuition, that quiet, calm voice you used to talk over with loud logic and frantic fear. The beauty of a sunset might suddenly bring tears to your eyes, not from sadness, but from a shocking recognition of a kinship with the light, a feeling that you and the sunset are made of the same glorious stuff. The words of a stranger might feel like they were meant specifically for you, carrying a message your soul needed to hear. A dream might feel more real than your waking life, leaving you with a residue of profound truth that lingers for days. This is not your imagination. This is perception beginning to clear. This is the signal, once buried beneath the static of the mundane, now coming in loud and clear. The longing you have felt your entire life, that vague discontent, that restless searching, was not a curse. It was not a sign that you were broken. It was a compass, and it has been pointing you home all along. The journey to open your third eye begins not with a complicated technique, not with a secret mantra sold for $1,000, but with a simple, courageous, and profoundly honest act. The admission, deep in the core of your being, that the world you see is not all there is, and the heartfelt, irrevocable decision to see what lies beyond the veil. It begins with the willingness to pick up the cloth and start cleaning. The greatest adventure of your life starts with this single, simple step into the unknown that has been calling you since the day you were born. This longing is the engine of all human progress and creativity. It is the force that drove the explorers to cross oceans, the scientists to peer into microscopes, and the artists to try and capture the ineffable on a canvas or in a song. It is a divine discontent, and it is your birthright. To feel it is to be alive to the possibilities of a grander existence. Do not suppress it. Do not medicate it away with distractions. Lean into it. Listen to it. For it is the very voice of your destiny, and it is leading you to the most important discovery you will ever make, the discovery of your true self, the self that exists beyond the veil, the self that has been waiting patiently for you to remember, the self that is, and always has been, one with the infinite light of creation. Chapter 2. The Anatomy of Insight. It's not what you think, it's how you see. Close your eyes for a moment and bring your attention to the space between your eyebrows, just slightly inward, about an inch or two deep into the center of your head. Press a finger there if you need to. What do you feel? A slight pressure? A faint hum? A sense of space? Or perhaps nothing at all but the suggestion of a location. A silent, unassuming point in the geography of your body that feels no different from any other point. That spot, right there, is ground zero for one of the greatest mysteries of human existence. It is the crossroads where biology meets spirit, where matter bows to consciousness, where the tangible machinery of the brain interfaces with the intangible field of mind. For centuries, the sages and mystics spoke of it in metaphorical terms, using the beautiful and poetic language of energy and light. But today, we are discovering with increasing astonishment that their poetry was a precise and accurate map of a physiological reality. Let us talk directly and plainly about what this is. In the yogic tradition, this center is called the Ajna chakra. Ajna translates to command or perceive. It is considered the seat of intuition and direct knowing, the throne of the inner guru, the place from which the soul issues its commands to the lower energy centers of the body. It is depicted as a two-petaled lotus flower, often with a downward-pointing triangle inside a circle, containing a luminous, silvery white or indigo light. The two petals represent the fundamental dualities that the human mind grapples with: sun and moon, male and female, reason and intuition, left brain and right brain that find their final reconciliation and transcendence here, in this command center of consciousness. Now, put on your scientist hat for a moment. Let us journey from the esoteric to the biological. Deep within the human brain, in a small, cave-like chamber near the center called the epithalamus, lies a tiny, rice-sized, pinecone-shaped gland. It is called the pineal gland. For a long time, medical science considered it a vestigial relic, a leftover from our evolutionary past with no significant function, a biological appendix of the brain. They were wrong. So profoundly wrong. René Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, in his search for the point of interaction between the soul and the body, called the pineal gland the principal seat of the soul. He believed it was the singular point where the immaterial mind interacted with the physical body, and it seems he was closer to the truth than we for a long time were willing to admit. The pineal gland is a biological marvel. It is photosensitive. It contains retinal tissue similar to that in your eyes, and it directly responds to light and dark cycles that it receives through the eyes and via the brain itself. It is your body's master clock, producing melatonin, regulating your sleep-wake cycles, your circadian rhythms, your connection to the great cosmic rhythms of the sun and the moon. And most astonishingly, research by figures like Dr. Rick Strassman has pointed to its role in producing a neurochemical called dimethyltryptamine, or DMT. DMT is the most powerful psychedelic substance known to man. It is naturally produced in small amounts in your brain and is released in significant quantities during two of the most profound events of a human life, at the moment of birth and at the moment of clinical death. It is also released in tiny spurts during deep meditation, profound prayer, breathwork, and near-death experiences. It is, many researchers believe, the chemical key that unlocks the doors of perception, allowing the brain to perceive realities and dimensions that are otherwise filtered out by our ordinary, survival-oriented consciousness. It is the molecule that, quite literally, dissolves the veil. So, what are we to make of this stunning correlation? The ancient Ajna chakra and the modern pineal gland are not two different things. They are two different languages describing the same magnificent instrument. The chakra is the software. The gland is the hardware. One describes its function in the language of energy and consciousness. The other describes its form in the language of biology and chemistry. They are the subjective and objective views of the same profound truth. But here is the critical point, the one that most miss in their fascination with the biology or their enchantment with the esoteric. Activating the third eye is not about consuming a substance or mechanically stimulating a gland through force. That is like trying to understand the beauty of a symphony by dissecting a violin. The physical gland is the receiver, the antenna, but the signal it is designed to receive is consciousness itself. It is the material instrument that is tuned to the frequency of spirit. When a person focuses their awareness, their intention, their heartfelt devotion on that point between the eyebrows, they are not just engaging in a psychological exercise or a pleasant visualization. They are sending a current of life force, of prana, of bioenergy, to that specific anatomical location. They are, in effect, turning on the receiver. They are powering up the antenna. They are aligning the crystal of the pineal gland to resonate with a higher frequency. The pineal gland, when energized, decalcified through pure living, clean water, and focused intent, begins to function at a higher order. It becomes more sensitive to the subtle vibrations of the universe. It begins to tune in to the broadcast of the cosmos, to the hum of the quantum field, to the voice of the soul. This is why all genuine spiritual paths, without exception, emphasize purity, stillness, and focus. The junk food we eat, the fluoride in our water, the toxins we absorb from our environment, the chaotic and negative thoughts we entertain, they all cloud this delicate instrument. They calcify the pineal gland and scatter the energy needed to activate it. The path to opening the third eye is, therefore, a path of refinement. It is a return to simplicity, to silence, to a conscious and respectful relationship with your own body as the sacred temple of your spirit. It is about becoming a clean vessel for a higher voltage of energy. So, when you sit in meditation and focus on that point, when you feel that gentle pressure or see those flashes of light, know this: you are not just imagining a light. You are performing a precise alchemical operation. You are directing the most powerful force in the universe, your own attentive awareness, to the very control panel of your perception. You are, quite literally, rewiring your brain, stimulating neurogenesis, and activating dormant DNA to perceive a richer, deeper, and infinitely more real world. You are moving from being a passive passenger in the vehicle of your body to taking your seat in the driver's chair. Your hands finally on the wheel of your own destiny. Your eyes finally open to the true nature of the road you are traveling. This is the anatomy of insight. It is a marriage of the mystical and the material, a dance between the neuron and the numinous. And you are the dancer. Your focused consciousness is the music, and the pineal gland, your third eye, is the stage upon which the dance of reality itself is performed. Chapter 3. The Great Unclenching, Releasing the Grip of Your Five-Sense Prison. I want you to try a little experiment. Right where you are. Clench your fist. Clench it as tightly as you can. Squeeze until your knuckles are white and your forearm trembles with the strain. Hold it. Notice what it feels like. It is tense, rigid, hard, closed off from the world. It is a fortress. Now, without relaxing, try to pick up a delicate piece of thread from the floor. Try to feel the texture of a silk cloth. Try to play a gentle melody on a piano key. You cannot. Can you? The very tension that gives your hand its power to punch and to grip also robs it of its sensitivity to feel, to caress, to create. The fist is a tool of force, but it is blind to subtlety. Now, release your fist. Let your hand fall open, palm up, fingers soft and relaxed. Feel the blood flow back. Feel the tingling aliveness, the return of sensation. In this state, your hand is vulnerable, yes, but it is also infinitely more receptive, more intelligent, more alive. It can now feel the slightest breeze, caress a pedal without crushing it, and create art of breathtaking subtlety. It is a tool of perception, not just of action. My friend, your mind is that fist. For your entire life, you have been taught to clench, to grip tightly to your thoughts, your beliefs, your identity, your fears, your story of who you are. Your 5 physical senses are like 5 strong fingers, constantly grabbing at the world, categorizing it, labeling it, judging it as safe or dangerous, desirable or repulsive. This is a necessary and survival-based function. It kept your ancestors alive, but it has become a prison of its own making. The constant, relentless barrage of sensory input, the pings and notifications, the flashing advertisements, the 24-hour news cycles of fear and outrage, the internal chatter of regret and anxiety has created a state of perpetual mental clenching. This is what we call overthinking. It is not really thinking at all. It is the mental fist, gripped in a spasm of fear, unable to let go, mistaking its own tension for strength and its own rigidity for stability. The third eye cannot open in a state of tension. It is an organ of receptivity, not of force. It operates on the principle of surrender, not control. It is like a satellite dish that must be still and open to receive a clear signal. If it is clenched and vibrating with noise, it picks up only static. To activate it, you must learn the sacred art of unclenching. You must learn to open the fist of your mind. How does one do this? It begins, as all true transformation does, with the breath. The breath is the remote control for your nervous system. The mind that is clenched is mirrored by a body that is clenched, and a breath that is shallow, rapid, and trapped high in the chest. When you consciously take a deep, slow, diaphragmatic breath, filling your belly first, then your rib cage, then your chest, and you exhale even more slowly, you are sending a direct, biochemical command to your entire being. Release. Let go. The danger has passed. It is safe to relax. You are switching from the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight fist, to the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest open hand. The next step is to consciously withdraw the energy from your 5 senses. The ancient Sanskrit term for this is pratyahara, the 5th limb of yoga. It is not about blocking out the world or becoming numb. It is about ceasing to feed it your attention. It is about retracting the 5 fingers of sense perception so that the palm of awareness can rest in itself. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Notice the sounds around you, the distant traffic, the hum of the refrigerator, but do not follow them. Do not create a story about them. Notice the feeling of your clothes on your skin, but do not dwell on it. Notice the thoughts passing through your mind like clouds in the sky, but do not get on the airplane with them. You are simply the aware space, the sky itself, in which all these sensations are happening. This feels impossible at first because the clenched mind, the ego, believes that if it stops controlling, everything will fall apart. It believes it is the pilot holding the plane in the air through sheer force of will. The truth is, it is just a passenger having a panic attack. Gripping the armrests so tightly, its hands are cramping. The plane flies by itself. Life lives by itself. There is an intelligence in you that beats your heart and digests your food without your conscious command. That same innate, organic intelligence can guide your life with a grace and wisdom your clenched mind cannot even conceive of. When you practice this letting go, even for a few minutes a day, something miraculous begins to happen. The static of your mind begins to fade. The mental chatter, while still present, loses its urgency and its volume. It becomes background noise, like a radio playing in another room. And in the spacious, silent stillness that remains, a new kind of perception begins to stir. It is not a thought, it is a feeling of pressure, a gentle throbbing, a coolness, or a warmth in the center of your forehead. It is a sense of deep, panoramic peace that has no opposite. It is a knowing that arrives not as a linear argument, but as a direct, holistic download of truth. This is the third eye beginning to stir from its slumber. It is the sensitivity returning to your open hand. You are not trying to see something new. You are becoming able to see, because you have finally stopped blinding yourself with the glare of your own frantic thinking. You are clearing the channel. The great unclenching is the most courageous act you will ever perform. It is the decision to trust life more than you trust your fear. It is the willingness to be vulnerable, to be open, to be wrong, to be guided. It is the beginning of your escape from the 5 sense prison. And the key was in your hand all along. You just had to be willing to open it. This is not a one-time event, but a moment-to-moment practice. You will clinch again 1,000 times. When you are cut off in traffic, when you receive a critical email, when a fear about the future arises, the fist will tighten. Your practice is to notice the clenching, to feel the tension in the body and the mind, and then, with a conscious breath, to choose to release it, to open the hand once more. Each time you do this, you weaken the prison walls. Each release is a declaration of your freedom. And as you walk through your days with this open-handed awareness, you will find that the world begins to look different. It is no longer a series of threats and objects to be controlled, but a flowing, interconnected process, of which you are a harmonious part. You have begun to live from the third eye, and the prison door, you now see, was never locked. Chapter 4. The Inner Sun. Activating the seat of your soul's perception. Imagine a sun, not the one in the sky, but a smaller, more intimate one, residing in the perpetual night of your own inner space. It is a brilliant, silvery white star, pulsating with a cool, intelligent light. It does not burn. It illuminates. It does not roar. It hums a silent, foundational frequency that is the very note of your being. This sun is dormant for most people, a sleeping monarch in a sealed chamber, its light diffused and scattered, powering only the basic functions of biological awareness. But for you, now, it is waiting to be awakened. It is waiting for your command to ignite, to concentrate its boundless energy into a single point of radiant perception. This, dear listener, is the true image of your third eye. Not a physical eye that swivels and looks, but a sun that radiates. Its activation is not about seeing outward, but about lighting up from within. When this inner sun ignites, it does not cast shadows. It dissolves them. It reveals the world not as separate objects, but as interconnected energy, all part of its own luminous body. To see with the third eye is to illuminate what you look upon with the light of your own consciousness. So how do we awaken this sleeping sun? We do not force it. We cannot command a sun to rise. We invite it. We create the conditions conducive for its light to dawn. We become like the eastern horizon, clearing away the clouds and turning ourselves toward the coming light. Let us sit together now, you and I, and walk through a doorway. What follows is more than a meditation. It is an invocation, a sacred technology for activating your birthright. First, find a comfortable seated position. Let your spine be straight, but not rigid, and dignified and receptive expression of your intent to be awake, to be a conduit for vertical energy. Close your physical eyes. Take 3 deep, slow breaths, exhaling fully, as if you are releasing the entire clutter of the day, the week, your life, with each outward sigh. Now, bring your awareness to the center of your head, to that cathedral space we discussed behind the point between your eyebrows. Do not strain to visualize it. Simply feel it. Feel it as a space of infinite potential, a quiet, dark room waiting for the light to be switched on. Now, imagine, or rather, know that in the infinite space above your head, there is a boundless, limitless fountain of brilliant, golden white light. This is not a metaphor. This is the light of pure consciousness, the light of the source itself, the light that illuminates every galaxy and every atom. It is always there, always available, an inexhaustible source. On your next inhalation, draw this light down like a slow, liquid, loving waterfall of luminosity. See it and feel it flowing down through the crown of your head, down through the center of your brain, and down into that quiet, dark room in the center of your head. As this cosmic light fills the space, feel it beginning to coalesce. It is not just filling the room, it is condensing into a nucleus. It begins to spin, gently at first, then with more purpose and power. It is condensing into a sphere of pure, intelligent, conscious energy. With every breath in, you draw more of this limitless light into this sphere. It grows brighter, denser with light, yet paradoxically lighter and more refined in its vibration. See it now, not with your physical eyes, but with the feeling of your mind, with the eye of your imagination, which is the faculty of spiritual perception. A brilliant, moon-pearl sun spinning silently in the cathedral of your skull. This is your Ajna chakra. This is your inner Sunday. It is radiating a cool, silvery white light that permeates every cell of your brain, washing it clean of confusion, illuminating neural pathways that have lain dormant for a lifetime, activating capacities you have only dreamed of. Now, direct this light. This is the crucial step. From the very center of this spinning sun, project a beam of this silvery, intelligent light forward. Project it out through the point between your eyebrows and out into the space in front of you. You are not looking at the room with your physical eyes. You are illuminating it with your own consciousness. You are perceiving by radiating, not by absorbing. This is the fundamental shift in perception. The 5 senses are absorptive. They take in data from the outside. The third eye is projective. It emits a field of aware energy that illuminates what it touches. You are moving from being a camera that captures light to being a projector that creates it. You are the source of the light by which you see. As you sit in this state, bathing your inner world and your immediate outer world in this radiance, you may feel sensations, a pressure, a pulsing, a tingling, a feeling of magnetic pull in the forehead. You may see colors and shapes behind your closed eyelids, swirls of indigo, violet, silver, gold. You may have a sensation of inner space expanding, of the walls of your skull dissolving. These are not hallucinations. They are the authentic side effects of a physiological and energetic process. They are the evidence of your inner sun stirring to life, of the pineal gland being stimulated, of the Ajna chakra spinning at a higher frequency. Acknowledge them, thank them, and then gently return your focus to the primary feeling, the feeling of radiating light from the center of your head. Do this practice for just a few minutes each day. Consistency is infinitely more important than duration. You are building a new muscle, wiring a new circuit in your brain. You are, day by day, convincing your entire nervous system that it is safe to operate at this higher, more refined frequency. You are recalibrating your entire being to a new normal. What happens when this sun becomes stable? When it is no longer just an experience in meditation, but a constant, humming presence in the background of your awareness. Your intuition becomes a constant, trustworthy companion, not a sporadic and confusing visitor. Creativity flows without effort, as if you were simply tapping into a pre-existing stream of inspiration. You begin to understand complex concepts not through laborious linear study, but through sudden, holistic knowing, as if the information was always inside you, waiting to be recognized. You see the truth in people and situations, not by analyzing their words, but by directly perceiving their energy, their intention, their essence. You have activated the seat of your soul's perception, and your life ceases to be a problem to be solved, and becomes a mystery to be lived. A glorious adventure illuminated by your own unquenchable inner light. You have become a beacon, and in your light, others will begin to remember their own. Chapter 5. The first glimpses, visions, vibrations, and the language of light. There is a moment, after weeks or months of diligent, patient practice, when the gardener, who has faithfully watered the bare soil, sees the first tender, green shoot break through. It is a moment of pure, unadulterated magic, a validation of all the silent, unseen work. It is a promise of the harvest to come. Your journey with the third eye will have such moments. They are the first glimpses through the cleaned window, the first clear, unmistakable notes of the signal you have been straining to hear through the static. They are the tangible, experiential evidence that you are not just engaging in a pleasant mental exercise, but that you are undergoing a genuine metamorphosis of perception. You are not just thinking about reality differently. You are perceiving a different reality. Let us talk plainly and reassuringly about what these first glimpses actually look and feel like. For they are often so subtle, so personal, so outside the realm of ordinary experience, that the untrained mind, the ego, is quick to dismiss them as just imagination. Do not make that catastrophic mistake. Your imagination is not the enemy of truth. It is the faculty, the primary language, through which higher, transpersonal truths are first translated into a symbolic language your conscious mind can understand and accept. It is the intermediary between the formless world of spirit and the world of form. The first and most common experience is the perception of light. Behind your closed eyelids, in the darkness, you begin to see a play of colors and shapes that have no external source. It may start as a fleeting, instantaneous flash of royal blue or violet in the mind's eye. It may be a swirling, cloudy, amorphous luminosity that has no distinct form, like looking at a luminous nebula in deep space. You may see geometric patterns, complex, rotating, shimmering mandalas of light that seem to be the very architectural blueprints of reality. This is not random neural firing, phosphenes, or pressure on the retina. This is the light of your own activated consciousness, your inner sun, interacting with the subtle energy fields of your body and the universe. You are, quite literally, seeing the software of creation. You are perceiving the fundamental codes of light and information that underpin the material world. Then comes the feeling of vibration. You may be sitting in deep meditation, or even going about your day in a state of relaxed awareness, when you suddenly feel a distinct pulsing, a fluttering, a gentle throbbing, or a deep, resonant hum in the center of your forehead. It can feel like a gentle tapping from the inside, a butterfly's wing brushing against your mind, or a tuning fork that has been struck and is vibrating at a precise frequency. This is the energy center, the Ajna chakra, spinning and coming online. It is a physical confirmation of an energetic event. It is the engine turning over. When you feel this, Do not panic. Do not become overly excited. Acknowledge it. Smile at it inwardly. It is a hello from your deeper self. It is a signal that you are on the right frequency. Now, let us address the phenomenon that captivates and often eludes so many. Seeing auras in your newly sensitized state. As your inner light grows steadier, you may begin to notice that people, plants, animals, and even objects are surrounded by a shimmering, vibrating field of light. At first, it will be almost exclusively peripheral. You will glance at someone and, out of the corner of your eye, see a faint, translucent outline of color, a golden yellow around their head and shoulders, a soft green around their heart area, and the moment you turn to look at it directly, it will vanish. This is because you are trying to see it with your physical eyes, which are designed to focus on dense, reflected light. The aura is not perceived by the rods and cones in your retina. It is perceived by the third eye, which senses emitted, subtle light. The trick, therefore, is soft focus. Relax your gaze completely. Defocus your eyes. Look at a person against a plain, neutral, light-colored background. Focus visually on the tip of their nose or a point just behind them. But keep your awareness wide, taking in the whole space around their body. Do not strain to see. Do not try. That is the way of the clenched fist. Simply be open, receptive, and allow yourself to perceive. You might first see it as a heat shimmer, a transparent distortion in the air around them, like the waves of heat rising from asphalt on a summer day. Then, with practice and sustained, soft attention, color may emerge. This is not a parlor trick or a party game. It is the direct perception of the electromagnetic and spiritual energy field that every living thing emits. You are seeing their vitality, their emotional state, their essential nature, made visible. It is a profound and humbling experience that forever changes your relationship with others, as you see past the physical mask to the luminous being within. But the most profound and life-changing glimpses are often not visual at all. They are the downloads of direct knowing. You are wrestling with a complex problem at work or in your personal life, thinking in circles, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the entire solution appears in your mind, fully formed, elegant, and obvious, as if it was downloaded from a cosmic library and dropped into your awareness. You meet a person for the first time and have an immediate, deep, and unambiguous sense of their character, a knowing that later proves to be entirely accurate. Bypassing all their social persona and words, you have a dream that feels more real, more vivid, and more significant than your waking life, carrying a message of stunning clarity that guides you for weeks. These are the first fruits of the opened third eye. This is your consciousness, now less fettered by the filter of the ego and the 5 sense prison, tapping directly into the field of all knowledge, the Akashic records, the collective unconscious, the mind of God, call it what you will. You are remembering that you are not an isolated drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. You are remembering your connection to the whole. Do not chase these experiences. Do not become addicted to the glimpses and forget the view. They are signposts, not the destination. They are confirmations that you are on the path. Thank them when they come, and continue your practice with serene equanimity when they do not. The greatest and most permanent shift is not in the spectacular, fleeting moments, but in the quiet, ongoing, and profound transformation of how you perceive every single, ordinary moment of your life. The light you see behind your eyes is the same light that illuminates your world. You are beginning to see with the eyes of the soul, and the world is responding by showing you its soul in return. Chapter 6. The Symphony of Synchronicity. When the universe starts speaking your language, there is a language that predates words. It is the native tongue of the universe, a vocabulary of events, people, numbers, and symbols. It is a language of perfect, poetic precision, and it is constantly being spoken all around you, in every moment, in every corner of your existence. For most of your life, you have been like a person in a foreign land, hearing the beautiful, complex music of the speech, but understanding none of it. You dismiss the perfect timing, the chance encounter, the repeating number, the impossibly apt song on the radio as mere coincidence, a happy accident, a statistical fluke, a curious anomaly in an otherwise random and meaningless universe. But now, something is changing. As your third eye opens, as your inner perception clears and your inner sun begins to radiate, you are beginning to understand this language. You are starting to hear the music and the noise. You are beginning to see the stunning, intelligent, and purposeful patterns in the tapestry of your life. You are witnessing, and now participating in, the symphony of synchronicity. A synchronicity, a term coined by the great psychologist Carl Jung, is a meaningful coincidence. It is an event in the outer world that perfectly, and often improbably, mirrors an event in your inner world, a thought, a feeling, a question, a dream. It is the universe winking at you. It is the soul using the world as its canvas to send you a message, to guide you, to confirm you are on the right path. It is the feedback loop of a conscious universe. Think of a time you were thinking intensely about an old friend you had not seen or heard from in years. And later that day, you randomly bumped into them on a street in a different city, or received an email from them out of the blue. That is a rudimentary, classic synchronicity. But when the third eye is open, when you are vibrating at a higher frequency of awareness, this phenomenon ceases to be a rare and startling event and becomes a constant, flowing, guiding dialogue. Your life becomes a conversation with the cosmos. Here's how it works at the level of mechanics and spirit. The universe is not a collection of separate, isolated things bumping into each other randomly, like balls on a billiard table. That is the old, Newtonian, materialistic view. The new view, from quantum physics to ancient mysticism, reveals a universe that is a single, unified, living organism. At the most fundamental level, everything is connected to everything else in a vast, cosmic web of relationship. Your thoughts are not isolated events locked inside your skull. They are real, measurable vibrations that ripple through this unified field. This cosmic mind, when your consciousness is clouded, identified with the ego, and scattered, these ripples are weak, incoherent, and lost in the noise. But when you achieve clarity, when you unclench your mind and activate your inner sun, your thoughts become powerful, coherent, laser-focused signals beamed out into the field. The universe, in its infinite, responsive intelligence, then arranges the physical world, the outer world, to reflect that signal back to you. It is the ultimate feedback loop. You think a thought with clarity and charged with feeling, and the world manifests a situation, a person, a book, or a symbol that confirms, answers, or elaborates on that thought. This is the true mechanical basis of the so-called law of attraction. It is not about magically manifesting a sports car by thinking about it hard enough while ignoring your deeper inner state. It is about your inner state of being, your vibrational signature, orchestrating your outer experience with breathtaking fidelity. The sports car is irrelevant. The state of joy and freedom it represents is the real signal you are broadcasting, and the universe will respond to that signal, though not always in the literal form you might expect. You may ask a question in your meditation, a deep soul-level question about your life's purpose or a difficult decision you face. You sit in the silence, and you pose the question not to your own limited mind, but to the cosmic intelligence itself. Later that day, you may overhear a fragment of a conversation between strangers on a bus that holds the exact answer. You may be struggling with a creative block on a project, And then you see a child's drawing on a sidewalk that unlocks the entire solution in a flash of insight. You may see the same sequence of numbers 111, 444, 1212 on clocks, license plates, and receipts. A gentle, repeating nudge from the universe that you are on the right path, that you are in alignment, that your thoughts are congruent with your soul's purpose. This is not fantasy. This is physics. This is the law of resonance in action. Like attracts like. Your high vibration state of openness, intuition, and heart-centered awareness attracts high vibration experiences of meaning, connection, and magical alignment. You are tuning your radio to a different station, and you are now hearing the symphony that was always playing. So, what is your part in this? You must become an active, engaged listener. You must cultivate what the Zen masters call beginner's mind. A mind that is open, curious, and wonder-filled. Note the repeating symbols, the timely meetings, the dreams that come true, the songs that speak directly to your situation. As you record them, you are doing more than keeping a log. You are telling the universe, I am listening. I am paying attention. Speak louder. I am here for this conversation. You will soon see, as you look back through the pages, that there are no accidents. There is no such thing as a truly random event. There is only a conversation of sublime intelligence, and you have been given the headphones. You are no longer a passive spectator in a chaotic and indifferent world. You are a co-creator in a cosmic symphony, and the music is composed specifically for you, in response to you. The universe is not a cold, empty, silent void. It is a warm, intimate, responsive, and deeply personal conversation with the divine, and your third eye is the translator, the instrument that allows you to both speak and understand this timeless, wordless language. Chapter 7. The Shadow in the Light. Confronting your ego's last stand. As the light of your awakening third eye grows brighter, steadier, and more penetrating, it inevitably casts a shadow. And that shadow has a name, a structure, and a will. Your ego. This is the chapter many spiritual seekers avoid. The part of the path they wish would just disappear. But it is the one that separates the curious dabbler from the committed initiate. It is the crucible, the refiner's fire, in which your spiritual realization is tested, tempered, and forged into unshakable, embodied wisdom. The ego is not your enemy. Let us be clear about that from the start, for much spiritual teaching has demonized it to the point of creating a new kind of spiritual violence. The ego is a necessary structure, a psychological tool that was created in your early childhood to help you navigate the world and protect you from physical and emotional harm. It is the I that has a name, a history, a story, a personality. It is the manager of your personal identity, the CEO of the separate self, and it has done a formidable, heroic job for which you should be grateful. It helped you survive. But now, you are evolving. You are outgrowing it. The ego's fundamental, defining nature is separation. It knows itself by what it is and what it is not. I am this. I am not that. This is me. This is mine. That is that is yours. The consciousness, now flowing through your awakened third eye, however, is the consciousness of unity, of non-separation. It perceives the interconnectedness of all things. It sees the same essential life force, the same awareness, in you, in the tree outside, in the stranger on the bus, in the rock and the river. To the ego, this perception is death. If everything is one, then what need is there for a separate, managing, protecting I? If the wave realizes it is the ocean, what happens to the wave's unique identity? So, as your light expands, the ego will fight for its life. This is its last stand, and it is a cunning, creative, and powerful opponent, for it knows you better than you know yourself. It built you. This phase of the journey is often called the dark night of the soul, or the spiritual crisis. It can be the most challenging, disorienting, and frightening period of a person's life, but it is also the most transformative and necessary. It is the storm before the profound and lasting calm. How does the ego fight? Its strategies are devious. First, it will try to spiritualize itself. You may suddenly find yourself feeling spiritually superior to others. You may become rigid, dogmatic, and judgmental about your new beliefs, looking down on those who are still asleep in the consensus reality. This is the ego wearing the mask of the awakened one, the enlightened being. It has simply found a new, more refined identity to cling to, the identity of being spiritual. Second, it will create profound doubts and periods of aridity. After a period of beautiful, luminous experiences, the visions, the synchronicities, the feelings of bliss, you may be plunged into a state where you feel nothing. No light, no connection, no intuition, no magic. The veil seems to have slammed shut. The ego will whisper, "See, it was all an illusion. You were fooling yourself. You were having a psychological episode. It's all nonsense. Go back to the way things were. It was safer, more comfortable." This is the ego's winter, designed to make you abandon the path. Third, and most intensely, it will bring up your deepest, oldest, and most buried wounds and fears for one final review. It will drag them out of the basement of your psyche and hold them up to the light, not to heal them, but to show you how terrifying they are, to convince you that you cannot handle them, that you must retreat. You may experience intense, free-floating anxiety, old traumas resurfacing with shocking vividness, or a sense of existential terror and annihilation. You may feel like you are going insane. My friend, when this happens, and it will if you are truly progressing, you must understand what is occurring. This is not a regression. This is not a failure. This is not a sign that you are doing it wrong. This is the final, furious, and comprehensive cleanup operation. The light of your awareness is now so bright that it is penetrating the deepest, darkest, most hidden basements of your psyche. And all the rats, the repressed memories, the unprocessed emotions, the core wounds are scurrying for cover. They are being flushed out. They are coming into the light not to destroy you, but because the light is so intense they can no longer remain hidden. They are coming up to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be felt fully, and to be finally, compassionately released. Your job in this phase is not to fight the shadow, not to resist the darkness. That is the old way, the way of the clenched fist, and it only gives the shadow more power. Your job is to bring the unwavering light of your compassionate awareness to it. Do not resist the fear. Sit with it. When the anxiety arises, do not run. Do not distract yourself. Breathe into it. Feel it in your body. Say to the frightened part of yourself, "I see you. I feel you. I am with you. You are allowed to be here. You are a part of me, and I will not abandon you." When the doubt arises, do not argue with it. Do not get into a mental debate. Simply observe it. Ah, there is doubt. Interesting. This is what doubt feels like. This is the ultimate, advanced application of the third eye. You are using your non-judgmental, panoramic, witnessing awareness to observe the ego's death throes without getting caught in the drama, without identifying with it. You are the sky, vast and unmoving, watching the storm. The sky does not fight the storm. It does not try to change the storm. It simply contains it, knowing the storm is temporary, that it will pass. You are that sky. This process is the ego death. It is not the annihilation of your personality, but the dissolution of its tyranny. It is the moment the manager realizes the true CEO, your true self, your soul. The Atman has returned to the office. The manager does not have to be fired. It can be reassigned to a more appropriate, harmonious role, handling the practical affairs of life while taking its orders from a higher authority. It becomes a faithful servant, not a tyrannical ruler. When you pass through this fire, when you sit in the darkness, with compassionate awareness until it dissipates, you emerge not broken, but purified, stronger, and utterly real. The peace you then feel is not dependent on external circumstances. The joy you experience is not a reaction to pleasure, but the default state of your being, bubbling up from within. The love you embody is unconditional, because it is no longer filtered through a separate self that needs something in return. You have faced the shadow in the light, and you have discovered, to your awe, that the shadow, too, was made of light, waiting to be recognized and integrated. You have met the enemy, and the enemy was you, and in that terrifying and glorious meeting, you have found your greatest friend, your wholeness. Chapter 8. The Heart and the Eye. Why true sight is impossibly blinded without compassion. There is a fatal error on the spiritual path, a detour that has trapped many a brilliant seeker in a cold, isolated, and ultimately barren cul-de-sac. It is the belief that awakening is solely an affair of the mind, an ascent into pure, detached consciousness that transcends the messy, emotional, and vulnerable world of the heart. This is a profound and dangerous misunderstanding, a path that leads to what can be called spiritual bypassing, where the light of insight is used to avoid the healing of the heart. The truth is this: the third eye, for all its magnificent power of perception, is blind without the guiding, warming, and humanizing light of the heart. Think of your awakening self as a spaceship on a journey to the stars. The third eye is the advanced navigation computer, capable of calculating complex trajectories across the cosmos, perceiving other dimensions, and processing vast amounts of metaphysical data. It is brilliance itself. The heart chakra, is the engine, the power source, the very fuel and thrust that allows the ship to leave the launch pad and journey into the unknown. You can have the most advanced, sophisticated computer in the universe, but without a power source, it is a lifeless, inert piece of hardware. Similarly, you can have the most activated, visionary third eye, but without the fuel of compassion, without the engine of the heart, it becomes a cold, analytical, dissecting, and even cynical instrument. It can see, but it cannot feel. It can know, but it cannot love. The heart chakra, known as anahata in Sanskrit, is the center of unconditional love, compassion, empathy, and deep connection. It is the bridge between the lower three chakras, which deal with the material world, survival, sensation, and power, and the upper three, which deal with the spiritual world, expression, insight, and unity. The third eye, the Ajna chakra, is the pinnacle of the upper triad, but it cannot be sustainably reached or healthily integrated without crossing the bridge of the heart. Any attempt to jump directly to the third eye, to pursue psychic powers and transcendental visions without first opening the heart, results in a severe spiritual imbalance. It is like trying to build a skyscraper without the middle floors. What does this imbalance look like in a person? It creates what is often called a spiritual ego or a Zen monster. A person may have profound psychic experiences, see visions, receive channeled information, and speak of high philosophical concepts, and yet remain emotionally detached, critical, lacking in basic human warmth, and unable to form deep, intimate relationships. Their insight is used as a weapon to feel superior, to separate, to judge others as less evolved. This is not enlightenment. It is a more refined, and therefore more seductive, form of imprisonment. The light of the third eye, when filtered through a closed heart, becomes a harsh, interrogating, and clinical spotlight. When filtered through an open heart, it becomes a warm, healing, and forgiving sun. The heart and the eye are meant to work in divine concert. The heart feels the unity. The eye sees it. The heart provides the why, the motivation of love, compassion, and service. The eye provides the how, the clarity, insight, and wisdom to act on that love in an effective and discerning way. The heart is the love for all of humanity. The eye is the insight into how to best serve that humanity. They are two wings of the same bird. With only one wing, you will spiral in circles until you crash. Let me speak to you directly now, from my own heart to yours. Have you ever had a moment of pure, selfless, spontaneous compassion? A moment where you weren't thinking about yourself at all? Perhaps when you comforted a crying child, or felt a genuine pang of empathy for a suffering animal, or were moved to tears by an act of great kindness between strangers. In that moment, what happened to your sense of self, your personal problems, your worries, your egoic concerns about your identity and your story? They all vanished, did they not? For that fleeting, glorious moment, you were not separate from the one suffering. You were one with them. Your heart opened, and your sense of I expanded to include them. That, my friend, is a genuine taste of awakened consciousness. And it came not through seeing, not through intellectual understanding, but through feeling. It came through the heart. This is why all the great spiritual avatars throughout history, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Mother Teresa, are depicted and remembered not merely as beings of immense knowledge, but as beings of immense, boundless, and active compassion. Their enlightenment was not just a state of supreme knowledge, but a state of supreme love. The Buddha, after his glorious enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, where he undoubtedly perceived the ultimate nature of reality with his fully opened third eye, did not stay in that blissful, isolated state. He spent the next 40 years walking through the dust and heat of India out of limitless compassion to help other suffering beings find the path. His third eye gave him the insight into the nature of suffering. His boundless, compassionate heart gave him the reason to end it for all beings. So, how do you ensure your path is balanced? How do you open the heart in tandem with the eye? You must consciously, deliberately work on it. Practice feeling genuine gratitude for the small things, for the air you breathe, the food you eat, the roof over your head. Practice loving kindness meditation, where you consciously send feelings of love, peace, and well-being to yourself, to your loved ones, to neutral people, and even, most importantly, to those with whom you have difficulty. When you see someone, try to feel past their personality, their behavior, to their essence, their struggles, their hidden divinity. See the divine spark within them, no matter how buried it may be under layers of pain and conditioning. And in your meditation practice, after you have activated your inner sun in the third eye, finish by bringing that brilliant, silvery light from your forehead down into the center of your chest, your heart center. See the two centers connected by a beam of golden light. Let the intelligence of the eye infuse the love of the heart with wisdom, and let the love of the heart fuel the vision of the eye with purpose. You will know you are on the right track when your expanding perception makes you more humble, not more arrogant. When your intuitive insights fill you with a desire to help, to serve, to uplift, not to condescend. or feel separate. When you see the interconnectedness of all life, and your immediate, spontaneous response is a love so vast, so tender, and so powerful that it brings you to your knees in gratitude. For you will have realized the ultimate truth. The eye that sees the universe and the heart that loves it are one and the same. You are that love, seeing itself in the mirror of all creation. Chapter 9. Living with the door open. Integrating cosmic awareness into a human life. The mountaintop is breathtaking. The view from the peak of spiritual experience, where the air is thin with pure consciousness and you can see for eternity in all directions, is a vision that changes a person forever. It is a glimpse of home. But you cannot live on the mountaintop. The wind is too fierce. The ground too barren for sustaining human life. The body cannot survive there for long. So you must descend. You must come back down into the valley, back into the world of grocery stores and school runs and Monday morning meetings, back into the world of paying bills and dealing with difficult people and washing dishes. But now, you are different. You carry the vision of the peak with you. You have seen the vista, and you know it is real, even when you are back in the crowded, noisy, often confusing valley. This, for many, is the greatest and most practical challenge of all. Integration. How do you live with the door of perception wide open while taking out the trash? How do you hold the awareness of infinite oneness while stuck in traffic? How do you remain the vast, impersonal sky, while also being a person with a name and a history who needs to show up for a job? This is the art of bringing heaven down to earth. This is where your sublime realization gets its hands dirty and proves its mettle. This is where you learn to live as a walking, talking, breathing paradox, both human and divine, both finite and infinite, both the wave and the ocean. The first and most essential practice for this integration is grounding. Cosmic awareness, if not properly anchored, can make you feel spacier than a satellite, unmoored, disconnected, and ineffective in the practical world. Your spirit may be willing to float in the bliss of the formless, but your body has a mortgage. Grounding is the process of bringing your consciousness fully into your physical body and into the present moment, into the earth itself. It is the act of becoming a conscious, rooted tree, with your branches in the heavens, but your roots deep in the soil. The simplest and most powerful way to ground is through the body itself. Walk barefoot on the earth whenever you can. Feel the grass, the soil, the sand, the rock under your feet. This practice, known as earthing, literally transfers the earth's negative ions into your body, calming your nervous system and pulling your awareness out of your head and into your feet. Get your hands in the dirt. Do physical labor. Chop wood. Carry water. Exercise. Feel the weight and strength of your body. Eat root vegetables, potatoes, carrots, beets, foods that grow downward into the earth. Feel the weight of your body in your chair right now. Your body is not a prison for your spirit. It is your anchor to this dimension, the sacred vessel for your spirit's journey here. Honor it, inhabit it fully, and thank it for its service. The next step is to bring mindful, third eye awareness to the mundane. This is where the magic truly becomes real and sustainable. Washing dishes can become a sacred ceremony of presence. Feel the warmth of the water on your hands. See the light glinting off the bubbles. Smell the scent of the soap. Be fully, completely present with the plate, the soap, the action, as if it is the most important activity in the universe. Because in that moment, it is. Driving can become a moving meditation. Be aware of your hands on the wheel, the feeling of the car moving, the landscape flowing past. Listen to the sounds without judgment. When you are in a conversation, be fully there. Listen not just to the words, but to the energy behind them. to the being speaking through the person. See the divine in front of you, regardless of what they are saying. You will find that you no longer need to choose between being spiritual and being in the world. The world itself becomes your spiritual practice, your monastery. Every interaction is a chance to practice compassion and patience. Every task is an opportunity for mindful presence. Every moment, no matter how ordinary, is a portal to the infinite. You discover that nirvana is not a distant place, but a quality of attention you bring to here and now. This integrated state transforms your relationship with challenges and problems. A problem at work is no longer a personal catastrophe that defines you, but a fascinating puzzle appearing in the field of consciousness, offering a lesson in creativity, patience, or communication. A conflict in a relationship is not a failure, but a dance of energies, inviting you to practice clear communication, set boundaries, and offer unconditional love. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a conscious, curious, and empowered participant in the unfolding drama of your life. Your intuition, your inner guidance system, becomes your most trusted advisor in daily decisions. This is not the impulsive voice of fear or desire, but the calm, clear, certain voice of the soul. You will learn to check in with yourself before making choices, big and small. You will place a hand on your heart and your forehead, connect heart and eye, and ask, what is the feeling here? What resonates? What feels expansive, right, and aligned? You will start to make choices that are in alignment with your deepest truth, and you will notice with awe how the universe supports you in this, smoothing your path in inexplicable ways, opening doors you didn't see, and bringing the right people at the right time. You will still feel pain, anger, sadness, and frustration. You are human, but these emotions will no longer define you, nor will they trigger a complete identity crisis. They will pass through you like weather patterns, and you will be the sky that holds them. You will have bad days. The difference is that you will now have a perspective, a vantage point, from which to view the bad day. You will be able to step back and say, this is a difficult moment. This is what sadness feels like in the body. This is what contraction feels like, without becoming the sadness or the contraction itself. You can feel the storm without being the storm. This is the promise of the opened third eye, fully realized and integrated. It is not an escape from life, but a deeper, richer, more authentic, and more responsive immersion into it. You walk through the world with a quiet wonder, your feet firmly on the ground and your head amidst the stars, a living bridge between heaven and earth. The door is open, and you have discovered the ultimate secret, that the two worlds were never separate to begin with. They are one life, and you are that life, fully awake, fully human, fully divine. Chapter 10. The Never-Ending Dawn. Your life as a perpetual revelation. This is not the end. How could it be? For the journey you have begun, the awakening you have ignited, has no final destination, no finishing line to cross, no certificate of completion to hang on the wall. The opening of the third eye is not a conclusion. It is a commencement. It is the moment you graduate from the school of seeking and enroll in the University of Being. It is the moment you step out of the airport terminal and realize you are not boarding a flight to a distant land. You have been born in midair, and the entire sky is your home. There is no longer a there to get to. You are already here. You have spent this time, through these chapters, learning to find a key, to unlock a door, to open it. But what you discover on the other side is that the door opens onto a shoreless ocean, an infinite horizon with no end. This is the never-ending dawn. It is a state of being where life is no longer a series of problems to be solved, but a perpetual revelation to be lived. Every sunrise is the first sunrise. Every face is the face of the divine, seen for the first time. Every breath is a miracle you are witnessing for the very first time. With fresh, innocent eyes, the sense of wonder becomes your constant companion. What is your life purpose from this vantage point? For so long, you may have been searching, striving, and agonizing over that one grand, special thing you were put on this earth to do. You can relax that desperate search now. You can let it go. From the perspective of the open eye and the open heart, your purpose is not a single noun. It is a verb. It is not a job title or a grand achievement. Your purpose is to be fully, consciously, radiantly, authentically. Your purpose is to be the unique, irreplaceable, and essential expression of the infinite that only you can be. When you are aligned with this, your doing flows from your being with effortless, joyful grace. You are not working to become someone. You are working because you are someone, a unique vessel of the divine consciousness. The teacher teaches not to be a teacher, but because she is a living manifestation of wisdom. The healer heals not to be a healer, but because he is a clear conduit of compassionate life force. The artist creates not to be an artist, but because creation is the innate song of her soul. You are not here to find yourself. You are here to create yourself, moment by moment, choice by choice, as a living work of art, in collaboration with the universe itself. This path never ceases to deepen, to expand, to astonish. The revelations keep coming, but they become subtler, more intimate, more deeply woven into the fabric of the ordinary. The first time you saw energy, you were astonished. Then you learned to read it, to understand its textures, its densities, its meanings. The first time you had a precognitive dream, it shocked you. Then you learned to navigate the dream world with lucid awareness, to converse with its inhabitants, to use it as a workshop for healing and creation. The first time you felt the unity of all life, it was a profound feeling. Then you begin to perceive the intricate, web-like, living connections in every interaction, the cosmic dance in every event, the hidden harmony in every apparent discord. The great broadcaster Earl Nightingale said that a person should dedicate themselves to a lifelong, continuous learning program. He was speaking of worldly success, but the principle is cosmic. You are now a perpetual student in the University of Consciousness, and the curriculum is eternity itself. There is always a deeper layer of reality to perceive, a more subtle vibration to attune to, a greater depth of love to embody, a more profound silence to inhabit. The exploration is infinite because you are infinite. So, as we come to the close of this part of our journey together, do not see this as an ending. See it as the end of the preface and the beginning of the great, epic novel of your life. You have been given the tools. You have felt the stirrings. You have caught the glimpses. You have navigated the shadows and integrated the light. Now, the real work, the joyful, wondrous, never-ending work of living your awakening begins. Walk forward now, not as a seeker, but as a finder of the magic in the mundane, a finder of the divine in the ordinary, a finder of the eternal in the temporal now. Your third eye is not just open, it is opening and opening and opening in an endless, glorious expansion into the light that you are and always have been. The dawn is here. It is breaking within you and all around you, and it is never ending. Go and live in its glorious, forever breaking light.